All right. I think I'm recording. So for those that it might concern, pictures sometimes as much effort as we go through to document things by photo. Sometimes it doesn't give an adequate presentation of what happened to the home. I'm going to do my best to do that for you. I have been in the direct heat now all day, and I'm many hours past hydrating appropriately. So a couple of things to note. There is a satellite up here. Or antenna. I'm sorry, TV antenna. I don't believe it is functioning, but if it's on the house during the install, the bracket holding it on right here is going to conflict with drip edge, so this is going to be a problem factor, creating some more labor. This satellite on the side of the house, actually, I've never seen this before. The satellite company did something really dumb, and they installed your lines through the shingle. So that's another thing that's going to be fun. You've got one pipe boot here on the southern facing part of the roof. This direction here is facing straight south. So this facet here is south. There are signs of granular loss and blistering, probably due to that ridiculous fake ridge vent. But let's see if I can run this in order of operations from where I found them, so we don't have issues in pictures. I always number things. But we have, that's not where it's at. That's over here. We have one wind damaged shingle. It doesn't have a crease per se, but it does have this weird bar of granular loss that's not consistent across the rest of the roof in that shingle. The shingle below it is unsealed, and it's lifting up the entire shingle above. Because that course was reduced, I think is why we're seeing the granular loss in an even line right through the middle of the exposure above. That's number one. The second one I found was over here. This thing's got a gnarly looking crease through it. So that's wind number two, W2. You can see here the shingle is not sealed anymore. The bitumen has been fractured here, here, here. Oh, sorry, here. Shingle ends right here. It has been fractured at the under part of the exposure. It's been fractured through the laminate. Again at the lower part, and the laminate, again at the lower part. Nothing on this laminate, but then there's also breaks in the bitumen on the very corner of the shingle here. So that's another one that's been broken by wind. Wind number three is over here. And so lifting the shingle up, you can see where it starts. There's no break in the bitumen on this laminate on the far left side of the shingle, but there is at the base here. Nothing really, actually, this granular is coming out right here too. But there's some granular loss. The bitumen is not broken in this laminate. The bitumen is broken in the base of the shingle here. The bitumen is broken in the laminate on this tab. It is broken at the base of the exposure here. Not any crease or granular loss really. Some granular loss in this laminate to the right of the shingle, and then the base finishing out the right of the shingle also has damaged bitumen. Let me go on to wind number four. It looks, a lot like the rest of these ones I found in random places. It's really strange seeing this one in the middle of the facet, but it's there. So this shingle, when I put my foot under it again, it seemed like a good idea to show what it starts and ends. We got this little tiny bit of a laminate with no bitumen damage here, but the base has it. The top of this one has a little bit of granular that's loose, but there doesn't really seem to be a crease with my bare eyes. The base of this exposure is damaged. The laminate here is creased, the bitumen is broken. The base of this one here has got some breaks in the bitumen, and the granular just falls right off like that. The laminate here is okay, the base is bad, the laminate here is okay. And that's wind number four. We move on to wind number five over here, which they're kind of easy to identify because of the granular loss at the top where the exposure ends. All I did when looking at the roof was like, oh look, this is broken. So putting my foot under here, we've got damage to the bitumen and granular loss in the lower part of the exposure. We have granular loss in this first lam. Base of the exposure is damaged. The bitumen is actually cracked here and here on this one, even though the granular is not that bad. Base of the exposure is bad here. Top of this one does have some granular loss and breaks in the bitumen right through my 5, or my 5 went right through it. Base is bad. Now the bases on these could be another side effect of the lack of ventilation here, but the shingle's unsealed and the matting is actually fractured and the integrity of the shingle's compromised. Wind number 6 on this southern facing slope is right here near the right side towards the back of the home, which faces north. That faces east. So we get a lot of wind shear coming off of that lake right there. Could be part of why we're having issues. This is an Owens Corning Pro 25 or 30. I'm not sure without sending a shingle to the lab, but it's either a 25-year architectural or 30-year architectural from back when that mattered. A little bit of granular loss in the first tab of the exposure. Definitely have matting issues and granular loss of the base. The top of this lamb's fine. The base is messed up on the next. All the lambs on this shingle are actually okay, but the bases are all messed up. The shingle's unsealed and the bitumen's a little bit compromised structurally. And coming over here to the northern facing section of the top of the roof, I've got some circles over here where there's signs of some impacts of the roof, kind of widespread. There's no consistency to them. There's no blistering on this northern section of the roof. Whatever happened hit the roof pretty good, and they're small, right? They're about the size of my pointer fingernail. And it's on that side of the roof too, but the biggest concern I had was the actually wind damaged shingles fracturing the bitumen. We have another pipe flashing here that's a 3-inch. So that's 2 pipe flashings on the whole roof, the antenna and the satellite. And I'm gonna start another video once I get down.